And welcome everybody to TNM Coaching Unplugged and Zoran Todorovic Interconnected Podcast. You know when you have the right guest, when this guest is your neighbor. You know, we all have these wonderful neighbors in our lives. Some neighbors, get annoying. And some neighbors you love. This neighbor I love. And the story of our connection, our relationship is going to be unfolded and shared with you throughout this podcast. But let me introduce this wonderful, amazing, very special dear friend and very special woman, Susie Pearl. Susie is an acclaimed best-selling author. Her books include the book Happiness, Instructions for Happiness and Success, The Art of Creativity. And she has also collaborated in the plant-based food book, Pharmacy Cookbook as well. So, there's a lot of, interest going on in her vibrant and dynamic mind. She has been an international success coach for the last 20 years. To disclose her age, she's still very, very young. She has worked with the CEOs and leaders in corporate and world of entertainment. She has also run her celebrity PR agency for 15 years as well. And then she shifted into the space of personal development through understanding the NLP on the master level and also working with hypnosis with the NLP practitioners. She also mastered Reiki as well. And then also she understands meditation, and she has been one of these pioneer meditators for the last 20 years, where she also supported the David Lynch Foundation into getting meditation out across the world. Recently, she had this fascinating story that we're going to start with. That is that she is a brain cancer survivor. And I'm so curious for Susie to start sharing around that before we get into her magic in coaching, in creation, in leadership, in everything that she does, because she's multidimensional being of love and light. She's also a mother of wonderful Will, 21 years old, who is now creating success around the world as well. Yeah, and now she's working on this new book that we're going to cover towards the end of the call, which How I Lost My Mind, which is the story of getting through brain cancer after being given 3 months to live by doctors, which is, like, as you know, remarkable success and accomplishment. So welcome, Susie. So glad to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me, Zoran.
So let's dive into that. We talked about what would be the good start? And then you said, why don't I start with sharing my story about, how did I manage to survive the brain cancer? So can you share a little bit on that? What was the story behind? What were the insights you got into this? And how did this manage to shape you even more in becoming the next version of yourself?
Yeah, well, I have morphed into a new avatar of myself. And I look back now, and that illness was actually a blessing. The big things that happen to us in life, the crises and the big obstacles that we have to face are indeed our greatest teachers. I was healthy, living a vibrant life in Ibiza, living next to you, Zoran, which was fun. And I was not down on the list for anything serious to happen. And bam, really fast, I began to lose my memory. I couldn't quite remember where I'd parked my car and so on. And I was meeting one of your family, actually, in our village, a place I went to every day. And I said, I couldn't remember how to get here. And this set off alarm bells and caused me to be taken to hospital for a check. And that check revealed a massive brain tumor. And it was quite shocking because I did not expect this. I did not even dream that this could happen to me. I was someone who didn't drink, I was very careful with my diet and health, and I exercised and so on and so on. So I was an unlikely candidate. However, I had been living a life of great stress, running companies, looking after celebrities, running across the world, always being busy, always being on, and hadn't really learned about balance and self-care. For me, success was big clients, famous people around me, attending the great premieres and so on. And I did all of that. And I got burnt out, and my brain burnt out, and I got this tumor. But something inside me said, you're going to be okay, girl. It's not your time to go. And I knew that was true. But this was contrary to everything, Zoran, that I was being told. Doctors, you've got, actually was 3 or 4 weeks to live. Yeah. And I knew, and so did my son, that it was not my time to go. But of course, when I explained this to other people around me, their eyes rolled up and they were, oh, how sweet. She's just...
She's just so sweet. She has such a faith in life.
I had spent 20 years learning about mind technology, health, well-being, and coaching people to feel better. So I thought, if anyone can do this, I can. So I got all my tools out the box. I did Reiki, hypnosis, CBD oil, positive visualization, positive conversations. I drove everyone mad saying, you are not allowed to say the C word or the T word of what I had in this brain when you're around my bed. I want to talk a good story, a new narrative. I don't want to talk about that. And they all said, you're just not facing facts and trying to paint this picture to me of reality. You're not facing reality. And good. I don't want to face reality if it doesn't look very nice. I was happy to create my own reality. And here I am 3 years later, fully better than ever, actually. And so I had 3 scans, and the first one was ugly. And they said, oh dear, this isn't good, write a will. The second one, it had shrunk. And the third one, it had disappeared. And they said to me, this looks like a miracle. The doctor said, the consultant, who was the head guy in the world on what I had, said, I don't really understand, but we can't actually see where a tumor was. And what happened was that I exited my body, and I was asked if I wanted to come back. And I said, yes, I have a son. I came back with a flash of white light, I remember. And from that moment on, I'd healed completely. So it is an extraordinary miracle-esque story. And I'm writing a book about it at the moment.
And when you created that exit and you went into the quantum field, or field that we attain through the meditation or practicing mindfulness or presencing, what happened there?
I got clarity, and I'd learned from all the work I'd been doing over all the years of working with really great people on coaching level, on spiritual level, on reading all the texts, the spiritual texts, ancient wisdom. I had learned that the world, the universe is within. It's not out there. Even though I had been a classic 90s girl of chasing out there all the time, actually what I needed to do was go inside and heal myself. And that involved going into this field and reorganizing things to make myself well again. And I had pretty good toolkit to do this, and I did, and it baffled everyone. Particularly the doctors and the hospitals. They have a paradigm of a particular thing. You have a disease and an illness, you arrive to be cured. They have a toolbox of pills, and really even nutrition. If I'd have eaten what I was served up in hospital, that would have wiped me out. There was no nutrients, there was no fresh foods. It was all dead food. So really, I learned to use my protocols, which was the healing modalities, for example, hypnosis, Reiki, visualization, positive thinking. And people poo-poo positive thinking. I've always been a very positive character, and I know that the way we conduct ourselves within in our mind talk needs to be very precise and in terms of what you do want to create. There's no point in rehearsing things that are negative or take you to a place you don't want to go. It's very important that you visualize and think about and use the airtime in your head to think about what you do want. And when you talk to people, as a coach, you're the same. You say to people, what do you want in your life? And for many people, that was the point they kind of looked up and thought, what do I want? And it was almost like they had never considered this question. What do I actually want? How did I design my life? And it's very important that we are mindful that our thoughts are creative. So I thought to myself, I'm going to get well. I'm already well. There's no B plan. I'm just getting well. I want to come back. I want to be with my son, and I want to see him grow up. It sounds simplistic, but there is much power and much intelligence in this kind of approach to life.
I completely agree. It's not, for me, it's not simplistic. And actually, in the simplicity, there is a beauty of focus. And when you decide something and you really see it through, then it creates and unfolds. And I think that, you're so inspirational because you managed to apply this and live this. And a lot of people talk about it, they would love to be able to do it and they would love to be able to accomplish that level of creation. And you managed with your own example. And for me, that's amazing.
Well, the proof is in the eating. It's in the proof is in the pudding, as the saying goes. What kind of life you have is a reflection of how you're conducting things inside yourself.
Yeah.
I had lived in Ibiza for many years, and this is the home of many natural healing modalities and plant medicine modalities. I had been through, for example, ayahuasca journeying, a plant medicine from the Amazon. This requires you to sit down and set intentions about what you want this medicine to do. So from these kind of experiences, I had direct experience that setting intentions changes the outcome of your world. It's one of the most powerful things is to set clear, positive, powerful intentions, because the psyche can get to work and they go, okay, she wants to live. She doesn't want to die. She wants to continue in this body. That's a very powerful message to the cells and the big life force that sits within us to organize things. And if you set very clear intentions, what I've discovered in my own experience is that powers through into your life. No matter where you are now, you could be down and out, living on the streets, very poorly. If you set great intentions, the whole universe, i.e. you inside, conspires to bring that into fruition in the most magical and extraordinary way. And there are millions of examples. I am one example of how powerful this works. In my example, I was told by a panel of the highest doctors in the land around my condition that I would not survive beyond the month. They were categorical. To the point of, you need to get a lawyer in here and start writing wills. It's that serious. Also, your family need to come immediately, not in a week, but now, to come and see you and say goodbye. That's how clear they were. So one of the things we have to do as human beings is not take on other people's belief systems, but rather create our own. And that was what I had to do very powerfully against all other conditioning, and people did not accept that I was going to get better. That was not their belief systems, because the medical model had said that wouldn't happen, and people believe that medical model. They're very, a guy in a white coat is very persuasive, and fortunately, not for me. I wasn't convinced by what they were telling me.
And for me, that's fascinating as well. When you decided not to believe the narrative, not to believe that everything was going around you, and to really set powerful intentions going forward, and you said, right, this is going to be my reality. This is what I'm co-creating, activating your cells inside of your body, the quantum field inside and around you. And then you were met with people or circumstances who were not really understanding that, or not really supporting and buying into that.
Yeah.
How did you manage to navigate that reality? For me, that's an interesting mechanism. And the reason why I'm asking you around this is a lot of the times when people do this work, and they have friends, family, and relatives mirroring back to them the impossibilities of life, and they get disheartened, they get discouraged, and they actually buy into that collective narrative. But you didn't, right? So you managed.
I did a 180 on what was happening around me. People would come and I had a lot of visitors. My family and friends were all expecting me to expire. And I had to make it clear that I had certain standards I needed around my bed and around my energetic field, around what was being talked about. Now, I was talking, that sounds crazy to people who do not follow this kind of idea about life. And I was sort of on my own with a lone voice in amongst all these other voices of going, just got to listen to the doctors. It's not going to happen. You need to get in your head that, this isn't going to work and you're not going to get through, kind of thing. So I had to have boundaries around setting up my own beliefs and being clear when I'm communicating with other people that their beliefs I do not want shone onto me and given to me as an absolute belief. Yeah. I don't want to take on other people's belief systems. And I believe that's what we do as we go through life. We have a belief system about the level of money we can have in our life, the level of health we're entitled to, the kind of relationship we're entitled to, the kind of code of living that we're allowed to have. But I think our job as coaches is to bust these belief systems, bust them wide open and say, why not? Why not expand? Why not be as wealthy and abundant as you want to be in all resources? Health, wealth, happiness, bliss, joy, and fun, adventure. Many people think there's a lid on the amount of fun you can have. I don't believe that. And I'm going to make it my mission to really bust that belief. I intend to have as much fun as I possibly can, because I think as human beings, that's what we're meant to do. We're not meant to be stressed and anxious and hating our jobs or hating our...
To have joyful...
We're meant to be here, you know, like God or whoever we talk about is a reference point for this incredible thing we find ourselves floating in. This force, whatever we wish to call it, is designed in a way that is beautiful. It's not meant to be hard work, and we've forgotten that. You know, we struggle and strive and battle through life. We shouldn't need to.
No, we shouldn't need to. And so
this is corresponding to belief systems. Yes. You know, if you believe, for example, my mum would say to me, my darling mum, who, you know, lived through the war, of course, and was understood what a ration book was, understood what it felt like to hide in the bomb shelter. Money doesn't grow on trees, girl. Do you know that? Money doesn't grow on trees. You don't want that. Think about what you don't want to have. You know, think about what you can do without. Don't think what you want. This is a mantra she would have. Very much a lady of wartime. And that was her conditioning. And I did not want that those kind of beliefs passing through to me. So I think we have to question our value set, our ideas about life, and really question them. And if they don't suit you, change them. And the great news, we know how to change beliefs now. We know how to do it. It's possible.
Yes. So how do you change your belief yourself? And the reason I'm asking is because a lot of the people who are listening to this podcast and watching us right now, they're like, yes, and how do I do this? Because what you highlighted so far, the clear intention is something that is so precious and such a wonderful instrument of reality creation. Yeah. And making sure that your beliefs are your own, that nothing that comes your way, that is taking you within your box and not expanding you and creating the integrity of your belief, it's something that you have to let go, and you have to be really, really conscientious that this is what you want to see. And this was the part of your reality creation when it comes to your health, because you held the belief that you will be well, that you will recover, that you will transcend this, and you will be having joyful, blissful experience. And as a result of this, you will be able to empower other people through this journey as well. And this is, now we're talking about it.
Yeah. I knew that going through this and this 100% certainty I was going to get out. And also knowing that I'm an international author and I've got a platform to write books that get out in the world, I knew that was my mission to help inspire people and talk about this issue of how to get around challenges in life by being given possibly the biggest challenge that I could ever have been given, which is brain cancer.
But you are.
And you know, it's inoperable. You can't actually get in there to fix it. It's not like having a broken arm. You can't get in there. So, you know, I was given one of these hardest things to get over, and I did it. So, and you know, one of the, I made it my reality that I was going to get out of it. So one of the things I did was I drove my family mad because I kept buying things like sun hats, bikinis, sun things I would wear on the beach when I got back to my magical home. I was imagining getting back to my home every moment of the day. So I would buy things I was going to wear on the beach, or I would look at pictures of the beach I was going to go back to. I would imagine being with my friends and having fun and barbecues or whatever to celebrate me coming back to my home. And I visualized that so hard, it could not happen. I'd read a lot about quantum physics and about the nature of reality. And I had understood and believed that if you visualize something with emotion, positive emotion, enough and rehearse it enough in your mind's eye, this has to come into reality. It's the law of physics. And I fortunately believed that. In this book, in this little book, The Art of Creativity, I write about brainwave states. You asked me, how do we change our beliefs? One of the ways that is really neat to change beliefs, I learned a modality, a healing modality that changed my life. And that's called theta healing. Theta is a brainwave state, and it's a brainwave state which is very creative. I explain in my book how you get into these kind of brainwave states. And once you're in these brainwave states, it gives you like an open door to go in to make changes into programming. And you can download new programs and you can delete the old ones. Our brain is very much like a computer. You wouldn't sit with a 1999 software computer running a really outdated operating system with no apps in 2021. No way. I want the latest app. I'm going to download the upgrade. Well, guess what? The same happens with your mind. You can upgrade your operating software and keep on updating it. This will make a difference into the kind of programs that you're running, the kind of beliefs you have. And if you have ugly beliefs like, I have to battle to get money, I have to battle to stay well, nobody likes me, or I'm just naturally negative, I can't help it. If you have any of these kind of troublesome things running in your head, the good news is that you can update it, change it, just as if you have an out-of-date app for Word. You have the first version, V.1 of Word is horrible, clunky. Get the latest one. Same with your brain. Get the latest one.
Get the update, absolutely. And then when you adapt and update your brain and you install these new beliefs, how do you sustain them? Because sometimes what I see from my friends and people that I work with, like they want to believe it, but they don't really believe it, and then they don't sustain it. And for me, the sustainability part of the creation of the new belief is very important.
Yeah, keeping constancy is important. And when you believe something, often what happens, there's the monkey mind that kicks in, and a saboteur can just arrive from nowhere and go, well, you think you're great, but actually you suck, and you don't deserve blah, 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 blah. And we can have this saboteur voice messing with our positive intentions or wishes. This is about bringing awareness to what's going on in your mind. So the great thing about modalities like meditation, when you quieten the mind and you get out of the busyness of life and allow things to go quiet, you can be you can police your thoughts better, and you can hear what's going on in your brain. So I find meditation fantastic. I've been a meditator for many years. I do it with one of my routines every day. It's a fantastic opportunity to slow down the blah, blah, blahs in the head and really find out what's going on. So if you want to stop sabotaging, quieten the mind. When you get it into quiet, you can instruct it to do what you want it to do. You're actually in charge. I spoke to a lady this morning. She asked to speak to me because she has just been diagnosed with brain cancer. And she said, I don't know why. And I said, okay, I'm going to send you my protocol sheet of all the things I did, including nutrition, including CBD oil and all sorts of things. And I said, one of the most important things is how you run your mind. And she said, what do you mean? I said, it's very important that you're not negative. And she said, and you don't think about horrible outcomes, you think about the outcome as you want it. And she said, oh yeah, but I have a partner and he makes me, he causes me to be angry all the time. He makes me feel angry, and he makes me angry. And I said, no, you make yourself angry. I know that's a very tough thing to say to you, but the truth is that you are in control of your mind and your emotions, not him, not your partner, not your kids who are driving you crazy because they're all over the place, but actually it's you. And we must take responsibility for how we feel and how we run this thing. It doesn't come with a manual. You have to begin to understand how your mind works. And it's quirky. But once we get the hang of it, and that's why coaching is so wonderful, because we can help direct you into understanding how this wonderful, most complex computer on the planet works. Once you get you only need a few tips and tricks to make it run really well. So do it, invest time. It's better than going shopping or doing some other stuff. Invest time to learn how your brain works. Yeah. And you can cure things like brain cancer.
And also create things as well. I mean, when you said to this person, you really need to be reflective and understand how your thoughts work in the stillness and silence of meditation, which I also practice like yourself. This is the space when you can hear yourself thinking. Mm-hmm. And also when you coach somebody, if you're not able to meditate through the conversation that we call coaching or to any dialogue, you can also verbalize your thoughts, and those thoughts that come out in this space. And sometimes, as you said, people are not even aware of what they're thinking in their brain. So what you're saying to all of us in this podcast is that we all need to be extremely clear and mindful around our inner dialogue, how we listen to ourselves, what is the narrative inside of ourselves, and then make sure that we change this narrative and think positive thoughts. Correct. And in the space of meditation, we have space to see them and to let go of certain things, to feel them, right? Experience them, see them.
Away from the busyness of life. I think if someone says to me, what's really helpful to raise yourself up in whatever form that looks like, my answer to that is get quiet. Now, I spent many years running with Richard Bandler, who he was the creator of neuro-linguistic programming. Now, I sat in hundreds of NLP seminars where he personally was explaining his own mind technology to thousands of people in the audience. I went in and out of trance for years while I was managing director of his company. So I went through the training, many, 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 many times. And the secret is in the name. NLP stands for neuro, your neurology, linguistics, your language, the kind of language, the words you use, programming, what kind of programs you have running. Now, this is the Holy Trinity in a way, neuro-linguistic programming. Out what's going on in our brains. If we manage to translate this into really powerful, accurate language, the words you speak, imagine your words as spells. Imagine that every word you utter can manifest literally in the universe. So you do not say things, I heard someone say, oh, that's going to KILL me. That and you mustn't say that, because your brain takes on directly the language that you're using, even if it's a laugh or you talk about yourself badly. Oh, I'm so FAT, or I'm so STUPID, or these things. Don't talk the game you want to play. Do not talk the game that you don't want to create. This is very important. And then programming is the third thing. And programming is everything we've taken from when we're young and brought up with our parents and so on. You often, I went through a period of having an identical money situation to how my father ran. He was a professional gambler. And I went from earning lots of money to losing lots of money and back again. And I was like, what's going on? And then I looked, it was my father's program, had to change it.
Yeah, have to change it. And I know also that you're passionate about routines, yes. That throughout of your healing modality and journey into emerging as new right now and inspiring other people, that you mentioned to me that routines are so important.
Yes.
So share with
I'm passionate about routines. I realized that, we float around and we get, it's like one of the, like the pattern in the back, your background, we're bashed around all day, lots of messages, information coming in, people calling us, WhatsApp flying, emails. Oh my God. So you're like this if you were looking at ourselves under an electron microscope, we'd be one of those atoms popping like crazy all over the place. We've got to slow that down. And one great thing to do, I help people construct routines in their life. What you do every day adds up to what your life is like at the end of life. So if you construct a good routine with things that are important in that routine daily, you can be sure if you stick with your plan, then you've got a very good chance of having a fantastic balance. So, for example, I have a routine and I've got actually a list and I keep it on my desk every day and look, check off how I'm doing. So I get up, I spend the first half an hour, which, by the way, is the most powerful time for manifesting. So whatever we're considering and thinking about, just before we go to sleep and just as we wake up, we're in a very powerful brainwave state. So use that time to meditate, set goals, set your intentions for the day, this kind of thing. Think good thoughts, think gratitude, which is very high frequency. It will take you immediately up to a high frequency. Use that time when you first wake up, first half hour of your day is powerful. So don't have an argument. Don't look at things that bring you down. Don't read the news. Definitely don't read the news, because that will take you into a fearful state. Guess what? When you're in a certain brainwave state, when you get into fear, that's going to spread it all through your body. And what does that lead to? Disease. We don't want it. Just don't go there. So use that first half hour, for example, to do powerful good things, gratitude, lists, things you're grateful for. Be nice to people. Be unnecessarily kind to someone in the street, whatever it is. And then I plan my breakfast to make sure that nutritionally will really hit me well for the start of the day. And then I program in my meals, and I program in my rest. I program in my meditation. I program in my work. I'm very passionate about my work, but I'm also passionate about seeing friends, having time off, doing sport, doing exercise. That's a lot. Like in any day, it's like, oh, how do I do all this? And then you have kids, you've got school runs, you've got clothes to sort, washing to, it's like, and how do you actually fit all that in? How you do it is you plan. You wouldn't run a business without a plan. Don't run your life without a plan. That's why coaches are great, by the way.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Because for me, being able to set up the routines and being able to have the plan and just keep on maintaining them, it really creates this structure around you when you can relax and be yourself and support yourself and really give yourself a direction all the time without being lost in this world that is very charged up energetically, through the technology.
Busy out there. Structure, by the way, reduces anxiety. So if you're feeling anxious or nervous or fearful in this world, and many, many people, and we know, are going through it at the moment, are feeling very disruptive, very out of sorts, and very confused and fearful. And that's understood and not surprising given what's been happening in the last period of time. We all know about this. Many people's lives have been fully disrupted. Working from home, loved ones you can't connect with, maybe they're in different parts of the world. Very scary. Now, one of the things that will help is having a structure in your day, because when we have a structure, we know what we're doing next, and you can get lost. Creativity has gone through the roof. I didn't know when I was writing that book, The Art of Creativity, just how, and it came out in August last year, right in the height of all the pandemic stuff. Many people have turned to creativity in this time of pandemic because it's soothing. And it takes you into a focus where you can kind of for a moment forget about what's the horrible things that are going on out there. So routine does many things, and it can reduce anxiety and fear because it gives you a lovely structure. And when you have a structure, you feel like you have something to do and there's some meaning and focus to your life. You're not just at sea. So it's a very powerful thing. And if you haven't got a routine, or indeed if you have a routine, check it. Amend it, change it, improve it. Just put one or two things in every day, and that can change your life. That might be adjusting what you're eating. It might be putting in a spiritual practice like walking in nature, like meditation, like reading. Just put one or two things in. It doesn't have to be tons of things. Just a little bit of adjustment changes your life.
Susie Pearl, we can talk forever. These 45 minutes of this wonderful podcast, just like timeless. They just go in.
I thought we just started. I've got so much more to say.
I know you do. And we're going to record so much more because you're an exceptional, inspirational human being.
Can I talk about my 2 books and encourage people to have a look? This one is about how to get creative and how to unlock your potential. And as viewers to this podcast, I'm sure you're all interested in unlocking your full potential. My belief system is that we have so much power, infinite possibilities inside ourselves. Let's get it out. Let's live a miraculous life. This one is the best book I have ever written. And many people write to me saying it's changed their life hugely. It's ahead of its time. It's called Instructions for Happiness and Success. You can only get it on my website. It's downloadable as a digital book. And it's all about frequency, attraction, and how to, it's a mind technology. It's very simple, but based on the laws of the universe and how to run your mind really well. So if you're interested in that, get that book.
So we will reference Susie's social media and also Susie's website. And we're also going to give you the link to the Amazon for the instructions, for the downloadable instructions for happiness, success, and the art of creativity. We're going to reference it to Amazon. So you can buy this book because it's changing people's life. I love it. I enjoy it. And I'm sure that you're going to enjoy it too. So Susie Pearl, thank you so much for coming and sharing your wonderful pearls of wisdom. It was such a joy and pleasure to have you on our call. Any last things that you would love to say to our audience, just to leave everybody floating in this wonderful field that you have created for us?
I'd like to say that connect with the wild and wonderful magical stream of infinite possibility that you have. If you're human, you have this. And just connecting, slowing down, connecting with this and being very precise about what you want, thinking about your life, design your life. It's so important. Don't just float through it without thinking or framing it and being creative about what you want. Set some great goals, set some intentions. Get a framework, get a routine, all of these things. Enjoy your life. We're not meant to be struggling here. We're meant to be loving life, loving ourselves, loving those people around us. And when we do that, the world's going to change to be such a great place.
Loving our life, Susie Pearl. Thank you so much. We love you. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of our podcast. Enjoy the rest of the day and more coming up soon. Thank you, Susie. Lots of love.
Thank you for having me, Zoran. Bye, everyone.